Hey guys, I hope 2021 has gotten off to a good start despite all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world. And obviously a new year brings a new focus towards the goals that we set ourselves. And so I thought it'd be nice today for me to give you some of my top tips on some of the success habits, my views on achieving peace of mind, and just some of the things about what are the limiting beliefs around reaching our goals. So I hope it inspires you to keep the focus on your actions. And a big shout out as well to Atelier Automotive, who have kindly let us film today in their space. They are a journalism client of mine and they share the same passion for cars. They do very high level detailing work on cars, and they're based in Westfield in Shepherd's Bush, and some of their team have worked for companies like McLaren.
What are your top 5 tips for people embarking on their own personal mission?
So my top 5 tips for people embarking on their own mission, number 1 would be to really go out there and hone your craft, right? So spend as much time as you can getting in those 10,000 hours. I really think it's not about the end result, but it's about the journey. I think 99% of it is really the journey that you experience when you're discovering, you're experimenting, you're improving, you're exploring. And that's really what fuels and motivates your mission. And I think you should never become complacent in learning, because the world around us is changing with every nanosecond. So we constantly need to be curious about that knowledge. And I think the other part of that is really try and get a tribe of mentors around you, because that's going to be really, really important in your journey, to have somebody that you can trust, somebody who's there for you throughout your journey, and who you can call upon, throughout all stages of that journey. Number 2 would be really, really committed to your health. Don't ever neglect that, because I think when you're really, really ambitious and hungry for something, it's really easy to burn out. And it's the same if you're not passionate about something, you also do neglect sometimes your health. And this is the backbone. This is what's going to carry you through. You need to make sure you're going for your walks, you're going to the gym, you're taking time out. And hopefully you'll never see the negative consequences of not doing that, right? Particularly as well, we are sitting at home, we are in our office chairs all the time. It's just too easy to get caught out by that trap. So just make sure you guys are doing that as well. Number 3 would be don't rely on other people. Ultimately, your success and what you achieve is on you. Of course, it's really important to have a good team around you, but nobody can ever replace the work that you will do. If you don't know how to do something, go out there, learn how to do it. Don't let that become a barrier towards achieving your mission. Number 4 would be to get rid of distractions and to cut negative cords. If there's anybody in your life or a situation that's becoming toxic, don't be afraid to just cut it out, because it's just going to become stagnating energy and it's going to hold you back ultimately. And secondly, obviously we're living in a very distracted world. Notifications are popping up everywhere. It's not even in your control when an email pops up, on your screen, and you get distracted just like that from what you're doing. So I think that, when you're working and you're in an intense focus zone, just switch out all that noise and just focus on what you're doing. Number 5 would be ultimately have fun, right? If you're not pursuing what you enjoy, if you're not doing what you love, it's never going to be fun. It's just going to become like an emotional heavyweight on your shoulders. So I think it's really important that above all else as well, you have fun in what you're doing and the mission that you're out to achieve.
What success habits do you employ?
My biggest success habit is health and nutrition. If I'm not eating well, then my energy is going to suffer. If I'm not exercising, then my success is going to suffer. So for me personally, I really try and make it a habit to get 8,000 to 10,000 steps in a day. I actually find that by walking, it's one of the best ways to just switch off, reflect on the day, reflect on the week, reflect on the month, or even the year. It's also an amazing way to listen to new things, whether it's a podcast, which means you're always learning, or listen to music and be inspired by your environment. I find that to be really, really important. And I can definitely see if I'm not getting my steps in, if I'm not stretching, if I'm not going to the gym, I can notice it almost immediately in my body that, I'm not gearing myself up. I'm not conditioning my mind to succeed. So another success habit I love to employ is meditation. And I'm going to say, I'm not doing meditation as much as I wish I could have been doing, but it's definitely something I'm very aware of and I try to integrate into my day, whether it's starting my day with meditation or ending it with meditation. It's really, really powerful. And it just sets me up for this really, really good clarity that I feel I've achieved throughout the day. And to kind of enhance and complement that, I love listening to binaural beats when I'm working. If you don't know what binaural beats are, they're kind of like an auditory illusion where you hear two different tones in different ears. And they're kind of tuned to a slightly different frequency, right? And basically they say that if you listen to binaural beats, it's almost like you're going into meditation, because what scientists have been able to see is that your brain is actually reaching that similar level of state when you're in meditation. So you can use them for many different reasons. Like you could use lower beta frequencies to increase your study and your focus, and you could use like lower delta frequency music with binaural beats when you're trying to induce a much deeper state of relaxation. You're trying to go to sleep, and particularly like if you're like me, I suffer a lot from sleep, which is definitely my third point here. Because obviously if you're not sleeping, if you're not getting those 8 hours and you're getting by on 6 hours a day or whatever it is, you are going to notice it. It's going to catch up with you. Your body just can't reset. And that's so, so important. And so the last two things in conjunction with that is I definitely take a lot of CBD. That's something I've been integrating a lot into my diet. And I found that it's really, really helped me with so many things, whether it's managing pain, and a lot of that pain's come from literally working like office, a back pain from sitting in an office chair all the time, or traveling, DJing long hours, all of those things. So I've definitely noticed a huge improvement when I've been taking CBD. And secondly, also the CBD's helped me a lot in just like getting a sound night's sleep. And lastly, my last success habit, which I think is really, really important, is spending time with people who inspire me. They say you're only as successful as the people around you. And I think that I try and limit as much as I can exposure to negative people and toxicity, because that's just never going to get you anywhere. And it's always just going to drag you back, and it's going to become that stagnating energy that we talked about earlier.
What do you make of the importance of achieving peace of mind?
Achieving a peace of mind is the most important thing. If you're not getting clarity, if you're not getting peace of mind, then you're doing it with the wrong intentions, right? You're making mistakes, you're not focused, and ultimately your success and your mission is going to get compromised.
What role does humility play when reaching a personal goal?
So humility plays a huge role towards our success, right? I think it's so important that you don't fall into a trap of egoism, because we live in a world where it's so much about self. We're flooded by social media and feeling pressurized to keep up with social media and showing off about ourselves and what we've achieved, and people not seeing the hardships and the truth really behind what it took for us to get there. So I think if you don't fall into that trap of egoism, which of course there's a part of it which is about, you should definitely, be proud of what you've achieved and have self-confidence and know how to, assert in the right way. But ultimately, if you don't fall into that trap, it's more fulfilling, because you're then creating an environment around you where you can learn to listen. You can be comfortable with taking constructive criticism, which is so important towards getting to the next step and towards improving, right? And you also recognize that, reaching your goals, most of the time it doesn't just happen just by yourself. Like, you're going to have a team around you. You're going to have your family. You're going to have your partner, whoever it is that has played a role in helping you to reach that place. But ultimately, also, you create a culture around you where you become an empathetic leader, and you don't become somebody who's an egoic and dominating type of leader.
What role does adversity play during your mission?
Adversity plays a huge role in my mission. I think it really does it in 3 ways. Number one, it's made me so much more empathetic to other people, seeing what other people are struggling with, seeing what they're going through, having the privilege to travel the world and see the most crazy things, from like tribes in Kenya to DJing for the United Nations, and really learning a lot more about the refugee crisis and the work that they're doing has taught me a lot about adversity. And also then, secondly, has, made me more comfortable with the adversity that I face, because we all will face adversity in some shape or form in our life. And, like, my story hasn't been easy as well, but I definitely know that, it's not going to hold me back, and it's not going to become a self-limiting belief. And thirdly, that's also made me really want to pave the way for other people, whether it's in motorsport, whether it's in music. And actually with music, it's one of the biggest ways that adversity plays a role in my mission, because for me, like, I love playing music that just transcends people to another dimension, and where you can create this environment where everybody's just releasing energy and they're being healed through music. So that's definitely one of the biggest ways it actually has got a role in my mission.
Why do you think most people never go after their dream?
I think people don't go after their dream because they're afraid. I think people get overwhelmed by what it might take for them to go after their dream, or they feel like they're not good enough, or that there's an imposter syndrome. And I just hope that anybody who has listened to our podcast and has listened to the guests can find that that where there's a will, there's a way, absolutely. And something that Rumi said once that really has resonated with me and acted as a guide for my life is that what you seek is seeking you. And as Paula said, the regret of inaction will always outlive the fear of action.
Does losing feel worse than winning feels good?
100% losing does not feel good. And trust me, I love racing cars. I'm super, super competitive. So I don't like to lose, but when you do lose, it just pushes you to just go even further than you thought you could. And sometimes that's actually a really good thing, because if you're always winning, that's just boring. And it doesn't challenge you to do anything more. You can get so complacent with that. So yeah, I think it's really important to sometimes be comfortable with the fact that you have to lose.